ladies and gentlemen. We're now into hour number 2 of episode 192 from MediaMonarchy.com. Heard a little bit of the Rosemary's Baby theme. Before this is Agent of Chaos from the Dark Knight soundtrack, and I think that sets the stage quite well. And again, we're joined in studio by my man Clyde Lewis of GroundZeroMedia.org. Thanks so much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
So we want to discuss in this second hour the slew of amazing events you have lined up this weekend. But while we were taking that quick break, we were discussing just some of the other pop culture, as we'll refer to it. What did you call it again?
I'm asking for asylum to protect me from the Hollywood Star Whackers.
Grant me asylum from the Hollywood Star Whackers.
Because it made me think of Heath Ledger and how, I guess, the Quades are escaping to Vancouver, and they're saying that Heath Ledger was murdered. Several of their friends have been murdered by the Hollywood... David Carradine and everything. There's some sort of band of Hollywood people that are killing people off. You know what's really scary about that is that, even though it sounds crazy, when I lived in Argentina, that happened when there were people who were in the media that were talking against the government. They were getting wiped out, and they made it look like an accident. But all these people, these well-known actors and playwrights and poets and everything, were all dying.
These were the disappeared?
Yeah, they disappeared or they died in some strange circumstance. It was mostly ODs and that sort of thing, and they'd make it look like a big overdose. And so, I don't know. I mean, the Quades probably could be... In fact, they generally are. And this
story I grabbed from the independent.co.uk. So the story's gotten international coverage that basically, the actor Randy Quaid and his wife, and I believe even a child as well.
I don't know. I didn't know about the child.
Perhaps not. They're seeking asylum in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Yeah.
Worried that they're on a death list.
Yeah, that they're going to be hit and killed because of, I don't know, they call them the Hollywood Star Whackers.
Is that what they refer to it as?
They call them the Hollywood Star Whackers. Look it up. You'll be like, whoa. It's kind of like, it sounds like some sort of a product.
So these things, as well as, I don't know if you're familiar with a site called Vigilant Citizen.
Of course.
That site has done amazing work in, and its viewership is huge because, of course, when you're talking about pop stars, you're automatically going to scoop up huge swaths of the web surfing audience.
Vigilant Citizen made me a fan of Lady Gaga. Just thought I'd let you know. Really good.
But the latest bit on there is he cross-posted a story that I think came from MTV about Kanye West and his series of tweets, this tongue-in-cheek about his Illuminati references and his possible devil worship, tweeting like, oh, how do I worship the devil on my iPhone? Or would the devil like a droid or, an iPhone? And ha ha ha.
Funny you should bring up that, worshiping the devil on your iPhone. Do you know there's an app now called the iOvilus? I don't even know how to say it. Ovilius, Ovilus. That basically is a tracker for ghost activity. And you can have it on your iPhone. And what it does is it tracks ghosts, and then it has an environmental monitor that when the environment changes in the room, it assigns a number to that environmental shift, and then the number is assigned a word. So you get, hello, worry. You get these words, and people can call out and say, is there somebody in the room? Yes.
I'm sure this is completely unrelated to the forthcoming Ghostbusters 3.
I don't know. Could be.
Again, these are those media memes.
I saw Bill Murray in a Ghostbusters suit. He's getting a little old.
That fly around. That again, just being a longtime student of pop culture, I know longtime listeners probably have heard, my tale of growing up in a conservative Christian household, Southern Baptist, where I wasn't really allowed to listen or buy music or go to movies.
Oh yeah.
The wall didn't break until about 1988. So right. I know I can look at 88 through probably the early 90s, and I saw every piece of crap that was in the mall movie theater. But those were the things I was kept away from, are the things I became the most interested in.
I lived in a Mormon community
Mom.
in Utah, and I was the first kid to buy Black Sabbath albums and Kiss records, and I was evil then. And I was like, "What are you listening to? Who are these guys? Knights in Satan's Service."
I thought it was Kids in Satan's Service.
Well, it was Knights in Satan's Service, or Kings in Satan's, or Kids in Satan's Service. And I'd play my records backwards all the time and say, "Listen, it says, 'Here's to my sweet Satan' in the Led Zeppelin album." And I do all that stuff when I was a kid, and people thought I was just out of my mind.
I did play music for my G.I. Joe guys. I would set up I would have soundtracks for my G.I. Joe battles. That again,
That's
I
cool.
think you can kind of look back in your life and go, hey, I guess dots kind of connect.
So did you ever play any Barry White when Barbie walked in the room?
No, because all I had was a handful of, I had maybe the Star Wars score.
Oh, yeah,
just
I know
a handful of records that, that I was allowed
Planet
to
of
have.
the Apes. I had Planet of the Apes dolls when I was a kid. That was amazing. I had those Planet of the Apes dolls, and then I got Star Wars dolls, and then I got G.I. Joe dolls. It was amazing.
But I think it's a positive thing that this Kanye series of tweets of, LOLing about his Illuminati connections shows the effect that the alternative media can have, and that the work that sites like VigilantCitizen.com have done cause one of the biggest pop stars in the world to essentially have to address it.
Well, yeah, I think that's amazing, and who else is addressing is Marilyn Manson. I mean, he's been also talking about it. That, he feels that people like Lady Gaga have kind of ripped him off in a way, because he was like the big bad boy out there giving all this imagery of tetragrammaton. I can't even say it, tetragrammaton, and also a lot of satanic imagery and non-satanic imagery,
but it also to me seemed to have a lot more social commentary, political bent to it.
Yeah.
Through theatrics, through rock and roll, through satire, through shock.
Yeah.
Whereas the sort of now Lady Gaga phenomenon just seems part and parcel to me of this sort of American Idol, Dancing with the Stars, whatever most ridiculous popular thing will be the biggest thing. And I've got it in my slew of news that Lady Gaga has the most YouTube views. She was the first person to hit 1 billion views.
Oh yeah, she's just. And in fact, I was just on another show talking about what I'm doing this weekend. I was on another podcast, and they were talking about the meat suit. They were talking about there are a number of people out there that want to go in a meat dress or a meat suit for Halloween, and I think butchers like in New York are charging $600 to make something for people out of meat, which I just
got to make a buck.
Yeah, somehow capitalize on a craze brought about by some pop star.
So I guess I'll just quickly say that, again, a lot of these things that we've referenced, I have laid out and posted up on MediaMonarchy.com. They're all still on the front page. Again, this slew of massive news that I can't really do justice to in the 2-hour live format. That in all these things, it's pretty much incumbent on folks to go check it out themselves and do their own research. Again, let me say, it's like I'm not the smartest dude in the world by any stretch.
Neither am I.
I just pay attention.
Yeah, that's all you need to do is pay attention, and and I have an imagination, and I don't back down from that. And I have always said, I could be kidding, I could be kidding, but I'm very serious about a kid about. And I always say too, sometimes the truth ruins a good story. I've been known to say those things, and it's not because of the fact that not because of the fact that I want to discredit myself or discredit other people. It's just I think life is more interesting than just. It's like, sure, I can tell you there's no Santa Claus, but what does it serve? If there's something going on and people believe in it, have fun with it for a while, play with it for a while. Then if it's not hurting anybody, then just leave it alone.
Well, and you do have the disclaimer at the bottom of groundzeromedia.org.
Yeah, people never read my disclaimers. They never read that. What I talk about is I talk about information and disinformation. It's up to you to decide which is what. Because I was coming out and said, "Oh, this is bull." Somebody's going to say, "Well, Clyde, think of this." I reached a point, and it was after I had interviewed Robert Anton Wilson, and he had said that once, he says, you get to a certain age where you just don't care about, it's not about not caring, it's about that you do care about these things, but you just don't know. And so if you don't know, why push beliefs on people that, you don't really have a knowledge of? And it's true. Sometimes I feel like I'm a militant agnostic. You don't know, and neither do I, so shut your mouth sometimes and just let it play out and see what happens. And it's not, sometimes I think it's non-healthy to have that attitude. Sometimes I think it's healthy, but it sure saves me from having to worry about whether or not there are demons under my bed. Sure they're there, but I think you need to make friends with your hallucinations and demons, and that way you'll be able to get on with your life.
And ultimately, all these things are within, and the answers are pretty much within.
Everything coming at you is from within you, completely that way.
And it basically comes down to fear or love, as many others have said. So, again, folks, all the pop culture is laid out on the site. But, Clyde, you have a huge weekend planned.
Yes.
And I don't think I really realized how big your weekend was going to be when I was first asking you to come on. I wanted you to come on because we haven't had you on for a while, and I knew that this time of year would be the perfect time to discuss all of these holy hexes going on. But so I guess just maybe give folks a quick rundown on what's coming this weekend, and then we'll flesh it out.
I think this is the busiest Halloween I've ever had on record. I don't know what to talk about first. I've been making the rounds and talking with people about what I'm about to do, but one of the biggest things that's happening is tonight at the Canton Lodge at 8130 North Denver Avenue. I am bringing, and he's a good friend of mine, I've known him for 16 years, David John Oates. He's going to be there at the lodge, and he's going to be doing, and this is where it gets interesting, he's going to be reversing politicians, and this is the first time I've told him to do so in a show, because most of the time I don't like reversing politicians. But he's going to reverse politicians because of the fact that the election right now is so important to people, and he's going to reveal dark secrets about the candidates, which, you know, if you know anything about reverse speech, the belief system here is that reverse speech reveals the unconscious mind, that which is not controlled by conscious thought and focus. And so when you listen to reversals, you hear what is going through their subconscious, or what is, and it's even deeper than that, because there's a lot of hidden things inside our souls that and I tell people that reverse speech is generated from where the dreams are created. That you hear, and I'm doing reversals right now for some things in my life, and believe me, the metaphors are there, everything's there, it gels with me. I'm not saying it's a new religion, but what I'm saying is it's something that needs to be considered as an oracle for looking into what is making you tick, because you take a look at eyesight, for example, and eyesight is, you know, you look at things and they project upside down in the back of your brain, and then you make it right side up again. Who's to say that thoughts and word forms, that word is focused thought, that, you know, that the thoughts that are running through you all the time, you have so many thoughts running through you all at once that you have to, your brain is such a miracle that it has to take all of that stuff that's uncontrolled and focus it into a word and form it into a word so that you can communicate. And that and people that can't do that are usually the ones we call mentally ill. They can't harness their unconscious thoughts or their unconscious desires or animal instincts. So
it's David John Oates, and he has the site reversespeech.com.
Reversespeech.com. He's going to be here in town. He came all the way from Adelaide, Australia.
Whoa.
So he's going to be there at the Canton Lodge, and he does this because we've known each other for 16 years, and it's always a good show. It's $10 to see him at the Canton Lodge tonight, 8130 North Denver at 8. It's going to be a great show. It's going to be $10 to see him, and then he's got now brace yourself. He's got an all-day workshop from 9 to 5. Tickets for that are $165. Now you're going to go, ouch, but you know, I know of a lot of people that are going to be spending that money to be there, because what it is it's almost like a huge therapy session, because you get to find out things about yourself that you didn't know. And people will pay all kinds of money to take LSD to figure that out. But this is something that you're going to find out. You don't have to get high, and you'll be able to hear what's going on in your unconscious, because it is a fascinating thing. It's not just playing records backwards. It's not just reversing politicians. It's digging into what is inside you, and you'd be surprised at what you'll find. You'd be surprised at what it will reveal about you, and you'll go, oh my God, that's true. It does reveal about me.
So in our busy weekends, I'm working on putting the finishing touches on my latest Media Monarchy mixtape, and within there, including a track I got from you that I've included in the mix, the Devil Went Down to Delaware.
Yeah.
Of course, referring to Christine O'Donnell. And again, folks, keep your eye on the feeds. That mixtape will drop this Halloween weekend. But I include on there a remix done by a guy who calls himself DJ Lobster Dust. And it's the Queen versus Satan.
Fun to smoke marijuana.
It's fun to smoke marijuana.
That is a
remix.
fantastic. I played it on my show. It's a fantastic remix.
I'm not sure. I haven't been able to find, if the church records aren't really there, that the guy that sampled, the preacher that sampled in this track, Reverend Gary, I forget his last name, it escapes me. There was someone at my church in Fayetteville, West Virginia, at Emmanuel Baptist Church in the early 80s doing that exact same thing. And I heard Queen, Another One Bites the Dust backwards, where he told us,
it's fun to smoke marijuana.
Here's what it's going to sound like. It's fun to smoke marijuana, or start to smoke marijuana.
Right.
So I heard that from a little kid.